So what diet are you on now? Are you on keto? Do you do HIIT? These are some of the questions that when you're with your friends, your colleagues, your family members, that you might be experiencing, hey? And it can be really difficult because you know that you're going to have to spend time overcoming all of the obstacles in terms of the questions that they're asking you when you just want to get on with your own healthy habits. So in this video today, I'm going to be sharing with you little bits more about how to overcome this, how to communicate your health goals in a way that feels effective and doesn't leave you frustrated with you just wanting to live your healthy life. So the first thing you need to know is, you need to know that for human beings, we have an evolutionary manner of moving around in tribes. This was a survival instinct. Us being able to move around in tribes meant that our safety and our security was looked after. So what this means is that it's common for us, just think about it, for us to want to stay in our community and not be disagreeing with other members in the tribe, not to be standing out and not to be seen as very different. So we do that sometimes by agreeing and doing things that the majority want, even if it's not what we want. The other thing is, you might find that you are a people pleaser. And if you're a people pleaser, you will know that it's so hard to do sometimes the things that you want to do without worrying how are others going to be affected by that or what they're going to think. Or maybe it's that you haven't been practicing your self-care practices. And if you haven't been really on board with your self-care practices, making sure that you prioritize the things that you need to do for your own well-being, then of course, when you're in these social situations, you don't have that habit of putting yourself first and knowing what are the things that are important to you because you're so used to putting everybody else first. So this makes this extremely hard. So, when are the times where you feel that peer pressure, that frustration starts to come about? Well, it could be whenever you're eating out or going for drinks, right? I mean, I know so many clients that they have like social drinks after work and they're like, oh, I'm not going to drink beer tonight, or I'm only going to have a couple of drinks tonight. And then, lo and behold, when the pressure comes, when they're in the situation, it ends up being one of those long nights, they've drank a lot and they have that regret. And even in that moment, they're like, oh, do I really even want this? Now, I'm all for doing the things that you enjoy, but that's the thing is, do you want it? Do you enjoy it? Or are you just doing this to please others? Or it could be like an event. Like, we have corporate events, we have social occasions, birthdays, where sometimes there's catering, or there's things there that kind of just not the sort of things that you want to be eating or doing as part of your health goals. So you might just end up having to do those things just for the sake of pleasing others in those occasions. And lastly, it might be that, you've gone to an event and there only is certain measurements or certain things that are available for you on that day and you don't have any other options that you see available. This can come back down to, people knowing in advance or you making sure that you've communicated your healthy habits in advance. And so you find yourself in that scenario where, look, you're there and there's no other way that you can be in that scenario unless you're just adopting to what's available for you there. And lastly, let's not forget fitness, because I see so many of you in the gym and you're like working out, you're pushing yourself, you're adding that extra weight when you know your body is like enough, or today is not the day for an intense workout. So these are typical scenarios where you can find that communicating your healthy habits can be very difficult and you really need to have some real tools in your toolkit to support you through this. So what do those tools look like? The first thing is knowing what are your boundaries. So once you've established what your health goals are for you, maybe it's to have good sleep, maybe it's to reduce your alcohol consumption, maybe it's to have more energy, maybe it's to lose weight. Whatever your health goal is, you need to communicate your boundaries and to others, but you have to know your boundaries first. What I find is you can't establish your boundaries unless you're very clear, why do you have these health goals? So I always recommend to my clients to not just think about this, but to journal. Why do you have these health goals? What is it that's really important for you to have these health goals? What is it that's going on in your life or within yourself that's making you want to achieve these health goals? Once you're super clear on why you're doing this, it's easy then to create boundaries around it. because you can say, okay, in order to do this, I know why I'm doing it, I know what I'm doing, and I need to create a boundary around that. Now, when you have that boundary, you can now communicate that to others. So what I tend to find is that you might have 2 or 3 health goals that you want to achieve, and you get the common response every single time you're out or you're trying to stick to these health goals. So why not script in advance? So again, go back to your journal and script. If someone says this to me about this, this is what I'm going to say. If I'm in this situation, this is what I'm going to do. Be very clear on your scripts and write out what are the scripts that you're going to have. So, for example, I'm on a gluten-free diet and I noticed that myself that I practice, as you know, the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time I'm eating foods that are from nature, something that your grandparents could have had or grown in their backyard. And 20% is whatever I want, high quality versions of those. Now, I noticed that my 20% when it came to gluten was increasing more and more, because when I'd eat out, I noticed that to make things easier, it was just, easier to kind of waver the gluten-free on that night. And then it ended up being 30% and 40%. So I said to myself, hang on, stop. We're going back to 100% no on the gluten, because I feel so amazing without gluten. Now, because gluten-free diets are becoming more popular and people are getting more awareness of it, there is still some education that needs to be done, but people kind of know about this gluten-free thing. Most people see it as a dietary trend, so what happens now is when I go out, people say things like, oh, but why gluten? Or, well, what is it? And then we get into this real heavy discussion. And you know what? Frankly, I just want to eat my good food and I want it to be gluten-free and I don't want the conversation around it. This is not a coaching session. This is me eating out and enjoying my meal. So what I decided to do was I decided to overcome that barrier by, instead of saying, I'm on a gluten-free diet and the reasons why, I say, oh, sorry, I actually just can't take wheat. And interestingly, I noticed the shift immediately, that people were more accepting of me not taking wheat. Bearing in mind, gluten is mostly found in wheat, barley, and rye grains. They seemed much more accepting of it. So now, here I am, I say, wheat, move on, we get to move on, I get to eat, I don't have to go into any explanation, and I still get to have my gluten-free diet as part of my health goals. So what is the thing that is the key health goal for you? What is the boundary that you're creating around that? And what is the script that you need to write out to make sure that you don't have any problems communicating your health goals to others, wherever you are, whether that be friends, family, work colleagues, and in any of the environments that you might find yourself where it's really difficult to stay on track of your health goals. So I would love to hear your comments below on this. So do leave me a comment, write to me and tell me, what is it, the health goal that you're trying to achieve? And maybe I can help you come up with a script and create clear boundaries exactly for that health goal. So send me a comment and share this video with someone that you know that's trying to achieve their health goals. And please do subscribe to my channel, because if you are just like me and you've realized that health is your true wealth, then I want to support you and help you to have the accountability that you need to continue to reach your health goals. Take care.